Dakar 2045, the West African trade giant. Dakar does not announce itself loudly, it reveals itself slowly. At first, it is the ocean, vast, unbroken, and indifferent. Then the city appears, stretched along the Atlantic edge, where land meets trade routes older than modern borders. Ships queue at the horizon, roads bend toward ports, concrete rises where sand once dominated. This is not just a city growing, this is a city repositioning itself within history. By 2045, Dakar is projected to become one of West Africa's most powerful trade and logistics hubs. Not by accident, not by chance, but by necessity. Geography has placed it here. Economics is pushing it forward. Population growth is forcing its hand. Every container that passes through its ports, every highway extension, every rail upgrade tells a deeper story, one of urgency. Dakar is not preparing for the future. It is already inside it. Yet, transformation is never clean. It comes with pressure, with risk, with difficult trade-offs between speed and stability, ambition and capacity, vision and execution. Dakar stands at a crossroads where the Atlantic economy, African integration, and global trade dynamics collide. What it becomes by 2045 will not only shape Senegal, it will ripple across West Africa. Dakar's destiny was written long before cranes pierced its skyline. Its location on the westernmost point of Africa made it strategically valuable centuries ago, long before modern ports. It was already a node, a place where goods, people, and power converged. Colonial infrastructure reinforced this role, embedding Dakar into global trade routes designed for extraction and export. But post-independence, Dakar did not collapse into irrelevance. Instead, it adapted. It became Senegal's political center, its economic anchor, and its international gateway. Over decades, the city accumulated institutions, banks, administrative bodies, logistics firms, and diplomatic missions. Each layer reinforced Dakar's role as a regional connector. What makes Dakar different from many African capitals is continuity. Its growth has been steady rather than explosive. Its governance, while imperfect, has remained comparatively stable. This stability allowed the city to mature slowly, building institutional memory that many rapidly growing cities lack. Yet, history alone is not enough. The Dakar of today faces pressures its founders never imagined. Population growth has accelerated. Rural to urban migration continues. Regional instability pushes people toward perceived centers of opportunity. Dakar absorbs them all. Students, traders, laborers, entrepreneurs. The city's infrastructure, much of it inherited or incrementally expanded, is now being tested at scale. Dakar's population story is not just about numbers. It is about density, distribution, and demand. As the metropolitan area expands, land becomes scarce. Housing prices rise. Informal settlements grow where formal planning cannot keep up. Transportation systems strain under daily movement patterns that infrastructure was never designed to handle. Every new resident brings economic energy, but also demand for water, power, transport, and services. Growth multiplies opportunity, but it also multiplies friction. Urban planners face a paradox. Slow expansion creates congestion. Fast expansion risks chaos. Dakar's response has been selective acceleration, pushing growth corridors outward while densifying strategic zones. But such balancing acts are fragile. One misalignment between planning and execution can lock a city into decades of inefficiency. This is why Dakar's transformation is not cosmetic. It is structural. If Dakar is becoming a trade giant, its port is the heart pumping economic blood through the system. The port of Dakar is one of West Africa's most strategically located maritime gateways. Its proximity to major Atlantic shipping lanes gives it a natural advantage over inland or less accessible ports. But geography alone does not move containers. Infrastructure does. Modern trade demands speed, efficiency, digital tracking, and intermodal connectivity. Delays cost money. Inefficiencies reroute capital. By 2045, Dakar's port ambitions extend far beyond capacity expansion. They include automation, deep water handling, logistic zones, and seamless connections to rail and road networks. The goal is not just to receive goods, but to process, distribute, and re-export them efficiently across the region. This transforms Dakar from a terminal port into a logistics nerve center. Yet ports are complex ecosystems. Expansion disrupts neighborhoods. Automation displaces labor. Environmental concerns rise alongside industrial activity. Every decision within the port ripples outward into social, economic, and political space. Ports without transport arteries become bottlenecks. Dakar's highway expansions, rail investments, and urban transit upgrades are not vanity projects. They are survival mechanisms. As trade volume increases, the movement of goods must bypass residential congestion. Freight corridors must be protected from daily commuter traffic. Urban mobility must remain functional even as economic throughput rises. This is where many cities fail when cargo and citizens compete for the same space. Dakar's planners are attempting separation without fragmentation. Dedicated logistics routes, suburban commuter systems, strategic interchanges that reduce choke points. Yet infrastructure does not operate in isolation. Maintenance culture matters. Enforcement matters. Behavioral adaptation matters. A perfectly designed road fails if informal usage undermines it. A rail system collapses if governance fails. Dakar's success depends not just on construction, but on sustained discipline. Dakar's ambition is regional, not national. West Africa is one of the fastest urbanizing regions on the planet. Its markets are fragmented by borders, but unified by trade demand. Cities that can organize logistics, finance, and services efficiently will dominate. Dakar is positioning itself as that organizer. Banking, insurance, shipping, finance, customs, brokerage, and digital trade platforms cluster where ports are reliable. Multinationals seek predictable environments. Regional trade agreements amplify the value of stable hubs. If Dakar succeeds, it becomes the back end of West African commerce, the place where deals are cleared, goods routed, and systems synchronized. This gives it influence disproportionate to its size. Every ambitious city underestimates friction. Political cycles interrupt continuity. Funding gaps stall projects. Institutional silos slow coordination. Informality resists regulation. Dakar is not immune. Urban inequality threatens cohesion. Climate vulnerability threatens infrastructure durability. Coastal erosion threatens long-term viability. Rising sea levels do not negotiate with economic plans. There is also the risk of partial success, where flagship districts thrive while peripheral zones decay. Such imbalance creates instability that eventually drags the whole system down. The lesson is consistent across continents. Cities fail not because they dream too big, but because they fail to align institutions with ambition. Future scenarios, the three paths. In the best case, Dakar becomes a synchronized machine. Trade flows efficiently, urban life stabilizes, opportunity expands. In the worst case, congestion hardens, inequality deepens, and infrastructure becomes obsolete faster than it can be replaced. The most likely outcome sits between these extremes: uneven progress, contested spaces, gradual improvement punctuated by crisis. Cities are never finished, they are managed. Dakar is not becoming something new. It is revealing what it has always been positioned to become: a hinged city, a gateway, a test case. By 2045, the question will not be whether Dakar had potential. It will be whether it had the discipline to convert potential into permanence. The future is already loading at its ports. The city has no choice but to receive it.